Second phase of National Export Strategy launched. Prime Minister commends athletes for their outstanding representation of Jamaica. And Jamaica receives harmonious enjoyment Chinese garden from the People's Republic of China. I'm Andrea Chisholm with this week's Jamaica House Weekly.
The National Export Strategy is a major plank of Jamaica's economic program and of our overarching national development policy.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller speaking Thursday as she launched the second phase of the National Export Strategy NES. This leg of the program is focused on manufacturing, mining, film and animation, agro-processing and information technology-enabled services.
Greater global competitiveness must be the goal of the Jamaican manufacturing and export sectors. The government is committed to creating the enabling environment to support your success, because your success is Jamaica's success.
Jamaica and China's 43 years of friendship was strengthened with Wednesday's handing over of a harmonious enjoyment Chinese garden by the Asian country. It was opened inside the Hope Botanical Gardens. Prime Minister Simpson-Miller graciously received the garden on behalf of the Jamaican people. She pointed out that the garden was an enduring symbol of the friendship between the two countries.
A space for harmony and inspiration, and a place for reflection and creative thought where East meets West for greater understanding of ourselves and our world.
While she tended to business in Kingston, the Prime Minister dispatched the minister responsible for housing to St. Mary for the installation of Errol Johnson as the new Custos of St. Mary. Through Dr. Morris Guy, Mrs. Simpson-Miller urged Custos Johnson to continue to advocate for and influence good values and attitudes in the parish. In sport, Prime Minister Simpson-Miller commended all Jamaican athletes participating at the IAAF World Athletics Championships now underway in Beijing, China. In a statement released on Sunday, the Prime Minister congratulated Usain Bolt and Adaine Richards for their medal-winning performances at the championships. Mrs. Simpson-Miller said Bolt continued to inspire Jamaica and the world through his legendary performance on the track. And the Prime Minister said Shelley Fraser-Pryce's successful defense of her 100-meter title was inspiring and symbolic of the hopes of the Jamaican people. In the meantime, Mrs. Simpson-Miller has also congratulated Alia Atkinson's gold medal performance at the FINA Swimming World Cup in Paris and her gold and silver medals at the FINA Champs in Russia. The minister responsible for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, also had high praises for the nation's athletes.
If you give of your best, if you remain disciplined, if you remain focused, if you remain dope-free, then we'll be happy to always have you representing Jamaica, because that is what is good about Jamaica.
Prime Minister Simpson-Miller, meanwhile, has commended the island's sportsmen and women in other sporting disciplines who she says continue to give their best. In a statement Wednesday, the Prime Minister had high praises for the National Paralympics team's impressive performance at the recent Parapan Games in Canada. The Paralympians also walked away with 29 medals at the Special Olympics World Summer Games in Los Angeles. Mrs. Simpson-Miller also had special commendations for the island's Sunshine Girls and their spirited participation in the recently held Netball World Cup in Australia. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Simpson-Miller highlighted Jamaica's female cricketers' second-place finish at the Super 50 finals in Trinidad. She also extended best wishes to the Jamaican team preparing for the 2015 Commonwealth Youth Games in Samoa, Garth Gale on his election to the Technical Committee of the IAAF, and Lord Sebastian Coe's election to IAAF President. On Tuesday, the minister responsible for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, said Cabinet had given approval for the construction of a National Sports Museum to celebrate our athletes' achievements. The museum is to be erected along Arthur Winter Drive beside the statue of Bob Marley.
We have already got the land from the National Land Agency. That has already gone to Cabinet for approval, and so we now go through the process. The UDC is working along with us.
$39 million has been allocated in this year's budget to facilitate pre-construction works. Back at Jamaica House, Mrs. Simpson-Miller welcomed visitors to the office of the Prime Minister this past week. On Thursday, she met with a delegation from the Harris Family Vision Inc. Foundation. The New York-based charitable organization is on the island to stage back-to-school treats and health fairs in several rural and urban communities. The Prime Minister also welcomed Venezuela's Executive Vice President Jorge Arreaza. The two discussed their country's long-standing friendship and cooperation in several areas, including energy. And that's how we close Jamaica House Weekly for today. Be sure to join us next time for the latest stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.